the best value for money, care and support when using the new system of personal budgets, due to be extended to eligible users in England by April 2013. How Griffith reports. An estimated 20...
This poem is called The Visitor, and in it a man strides into a house where a woman and children are gathered, and he's very important and powerful, and he's very impressed with himself, and he has an amazing effect on the woman and on the children, and I think it's about power. It's called The Visitor. He strutted into the house. Laughing, he walked over to the woman, stuck a kiss in her face. He wore gloves. He had fur on his coat. He was the most confident man in the world. He liked his own wit. Turning his attention to the children, he patted each one on the head. "They're healthy but a bit shy," he said. "They'll make fine men and women," he said. The children looked up at him. He was still laughing. He was so confident they couldn't find the word for it. He was so elegant he was more terrifying than the giants of night. The world could only go on its knees before him. The kissed woman was expected to adore him. It seems she did. "I'll eat now," he said. "Nothing elaborate. Just something simple and quick. Rashers, eggs, sausages, tomatoes, and a few nice, lightly buttered slices of your very own homemade brown bread. Oh, you dear woman, can't you see my tongue is hanging out for a pot of your delicious tea? No other woman in this world can cook so well for me. I'm always touched by your modest mastery." He sat at table like a king. He ate between bursts of laughter. He was a great philosopher, wise, able to advise, solving the world between mouthfuls. The woman hovered about him. The children stared at his vital head. He had robbed them of every word they had. "Please have some more food," the woman said. He ate, he laughed, he joked, he knew the world. His plate was clean, as Jack Sprat's in the funny poem. He was a handsome wolfman, more gifted than anyone the woman and children of that house had ever seen or known. He was the storm they listened to at night, huddled together in bed. He was what laid the woman low, with the killing pain in her head. He was the threat in the high tide at the back of the house. He was a huge knock on the door in a moment of peace. He was a hound's neck leaning into the kill. He was a hawk of heaven stooping to fulfill its will. He was the sentence tired writers of gospel prayed God to write. He was a black explosion of starlings out of a November tree. He was a plan that worked in a climate of self-delight. He was all the voices of the sea. "My time is up," he said. "I must go now." Taking his coat, gloves, philosophy, laughter, wit, he prepared to leave. He kissed the woman again. He smiled down on the children. He walked out of the house. The children looked at each other. The woman looked at the chair. The chair was a throne, bereft of its king, its visitor. A 3-year-old child sees petals falling from flowers in the middle of the night, and she asks me why are they falling. And I try to answer her. I say the flowers are dying, and then all the questions pour out of her. And as the questions pour out of her, she also says, "I want to play. I want to play." So the poem is in the voice and rhythm and language of a 3-year-old and tries to capture the questioning and the love of play. Poem from a 3-year-old. And will the flowers die? And will the people die? And every day do you grow old? Do I grow old? No, I'm not old. Do flowers grow old? Old things. Do you throw them out? Do you throw old people out? And how you know a flower that's old? The petals fall. The petals fall from flowers. And do the petals fall from people too? Every day more petals fall until the floor where I would like to play, I want to play, is covered with all flowers and people, all the same, together lying there, with petals fallen on the dirty floor. I want to play, the floor you come and sweep with the huge broom, that dirt you sweep. What happens that? What happens all the dirt you sweep from flowers and people? What happens all the dirt? Is all the dirt what's left of flowers and people? All the dirt there in a heap under the huge broom that sweeps everything away? And why you work so hard? Why brush and sweep to make a heap of dirt? And who will bring new flowers? And who will bring new people? Who will bring new flowers to put in water where no petals fall onto the floor where I would like to play, I want to play? Who will bring new flowers that will not hang their heads like tired old people wanting sleep? Who will bring new flowers that do not split and shrivel every day? And if we have new flowers, will we have new people too, to keep the flowers alive and give them water? And will the new young flowers die? And will the new young people die? And why? I wrote it all down. The following morning I put her back to bed when she was 3. She's 29 now. But it really, the language of the child and the moment of wonder, the first moment of wonder, is an amazing moment. And I think it's the moment on which poetry depends. And it is the strange thing in us that is undestroyed by familiarity and by experience. As if for the first time something is happening. And I think that's what poetry is about, a kind of permanent beginning. Something that always engages me is the way in which we choose to remember our dead. My father, a lovely easygoing man, God rest him, liked to begin each day with a dance on the kitchen floor after a few hours' sleep. And he whistled as he danced, and this is how I like to remember him, dancing and whistling in the morning, annoying everybody, of course, but enjoying himself. I see you dancing, Father. No sooner downstairs after the night's rest and in the door than you started to dance a step in the middle of the kitchen floor, and as you danced you whistled. You made your own music, always in tune with yourself. Well, nearly always, anyway. You're buried now in Lislochton Abbey, and whenever I think of you, I go back beyond the old man, mind and body broken, to find the unbroken man. It is the moment before the dance begins. Your lips are enjoying themselves, whistling in air. Whatever happens or cannot happen, in the time I have to spare, I see you dancing, Father. Irish history is very dark and complex, contradictory, almost impossible to understand in many ways. And yet it has also the fierce simplicities of hatred in it. One of the darkest moments in that history is the famine in the middle of the 19th century. And this poem is about the famine. It's an attempt to confront and to celebrate the darkness of history. The poem is called My Dark Fathers. My dark fathers lived the intolerable day, committed always to the night of wrong. Stiffened at the hearthstone, the woman lay, perished feet nailed to her man's breastbone. Grim houses beckoned in the swelling gloom of monster fields, where the Atlantic night fettered the child within the pit of doom, and everywhere a going down of light. And yet, upon the sandy Kerry shore, the woman once had danced at ebbing tide, because she loved flute music. and still more because a lady wondered at the pride of one so humble. That was long before the green plant withered by an evil chance. When winds of hunger howled at every door, she heard the music dwindle and forgot the dance. Such mercy as the wolf receives was hers, whose dance became a rhythm in a grave, achieved beneath the thorny, savage firs that yellowed fiercely in a mountain cave. Immune to pity, she, whose crime was love, crouched, shivered, searched the threatening sky, discovered ready signs, compelled to move her to her innocent, appalling cry. Skeletoned in darkness, my dark fathers lay unknown, and could not understand the giant grief that trampled night and day, the awful absence moping through the land. Upon the headland the encroaching sea left sand that hardened after tides of spring. No dancing feet disturbed its symmetry, and those who loved good music ceased to sing. Since every moment of the clock accumulates to form a final name, since I am come of Kerry, clay and rock, I celebrate the darkness and the shame that could compel a man to turn his face against the wall, withdrawn from light, so strong and undeceiving, spancelled in a place of unapplauding hands and broken song. I said at the beginning that I was a beginner with the adventure of learning, and I'd like to end with a poem called Begin, written or rewritten after a heart operation, and the feeling of gratitude for the opportunity to begin life again. Begin. Begin again, to the summoning birds, to the sight of light at the window. Begin to the roar of morning traffic all along Pembroke Road. Every beginning is a promise, born in light and dying in dark. Determination and exultation of springtime flowering the way to work. Begin to the pageant of queuing girls. The arrogant loneliness of swans in the canal. Bridges linking the past and future, old friends passing, though with us still. Begin to the loneliness that cannot end, since it, perhaps, is what makes us begin. Begin to wonder at unknown faces, at crying birds in the sudden rain, at branches stark in the willing sunlight, at seagulls foraging for bread, at couples sharing a sunny secret, alone together while making good. Though we live in a world that dreams of ending, that always seems about to give in, something that will not acknowledge conclusion insists that we forever begin. Thank you.